Today we're going to present to you puns and onomatopoeias.
So, what is an onomatopoeia? An onomatopoeia is a word formatted to resemble a sound, or the direct definition is the formation of a word from a sound associated with what it is named. So, for example, we have an explosion, which would be boom, a gunshot would be pow or bang, some metal hitting would be ding, and someone laughing would be hee 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 ha.
Why do we use onomatopoeias? When you read an onomatopoeia, you read the sound in your mind as if it's the real sound, so it tricks your brain. For example, if you read the word boom in a book, you'll hear the sound of an explosion in your head. It's also really convenient for writers to use because it describes a lot about a scene in very little words. But it's also important to note that it also heightens the language used.
When do you use an onomatopoeia? An onomatopoeia is used when you want to describe a sound or a scene in a smaller amount of words than it would normally be. For example, you would use it to describe a door closing by using slam. Then it would describe that the door was closed with force, but without all those extra words. Onomatopoeias are commonly used in comic books.
A cool fact about onomatopoeias is that different languages use different onomatopoeias for the same sounds. Here are some examples of the sounds cat makes in different languages. Although they don't actually make different sounds, it's just the different languages that use the different sounds.
Here are some tips for when using onomatopoeias. If the sound you want doesn't already exist, you can make one up, like eow. If writing in formal context, set onomatopoeia quoted or italicized to ensure correct grammar.
Now we're going to explain puns. So what is a pun? A pun is a clever wordplay and a joke that takes advantage of the different meanings of a word or the fact that there are words that sound similar but have different meanings. Homophones. Homophones are words that sound similar but have different meanings. So an example of a pun would be you're one in a melon, because it sounds like you're saying 1 in a million, but you're actually saying melon.
When to use a pun? Many people think puns are annoying, especially in important texts such as essays, emails, etc. As a result, it's best to think about what situation you're in before using them. Think of it in terms of tone. A pun sets a very jokey, silly tone to your writing, and even more so if there are many puns rather than just a few. So before you include a pun, ask yourself whether silliness is the right tone for the piece you're writing. You can use pun in jokes, conversation among friends, any non-formal texts, but don't use them in formal text, emails, and schoolworks in certain cases.
Now we'll talk about the different types of puns. First we have homophonic puns, recursive puns, compound puns, homographic puns, and visual puns.
So first we have homophonic puns. It is when there are words that sound the same but have different meanings. Because these puns rely on spelling, they are visual and must be read to understood. So here we have I'm a little chilly. Chilly and chilly sound the same but have different meanings. And we have recursive puns. You need to understand the pun for it to make sense. For example, you need to understand that Kratos likes to say boy a lot to get the pun.
The other types of puns are homographic puns. Homographic puns works on words that are spelt the same way but have a double meaning, or homonyms. For example, what is a dog's favorite tree part? Bark. The next type of pun is a compound pun, and they contain more than one pun in a single sentence. For example, a bicycle can't stand on its own because it's too tired.
Now, for the last type of pun, we have visual puns. These puns are visual, like images or videos, and have no or very few words. Like here we have Shrek and Shaquille O'Neal. They switch faces, and we have Shaquille O'Neal. And we have also a bowl with the logo of Superman, hinting that it's a Super Bowl. So a lot more visual and little to no words involved.
Here are some tips for when using puns. Start off with two homophones. In this case, I'll be using missed steak and mistake. Then, once you have a sentence, you switch your homophones to create the pun. So you start off with becoming a vegetarian was a mistake. And then once you add your homophone, it becomes becoming a vegetarian was a missed steak. Usually puns are more funny when they are relatable to you.
The resemblance between puns and onomatopoeias are that they're both figures of speech and are both figurative language. Figurative language is a way of expressing yourself that does not use a word's actual meaning. It's usually used to add a creative touch to written or spoken language or explain a complicated idea.
The difference between an onomatopoeia and puns are that puns are considered funnier. Puns are almost exclusively used in comedic context, whereas onomatopoeias are not. Onomatopoeias are more commonly thought of as to be simpler to write and use. Thanks for your attention on this funny video.